It's a great day for us to meet again. This is our first webinar for our month of May. And on the previous two sessions that we've had last month, I introduced the concept of how to tailor tech for Africa. And what we have been digging deep to check is how can we create solutions that address the local challenges, solutions that actually address the local market, and just a revisiting of what we have been talking about on how to tailor tech for Africa. That will be our main theme for us this year, is the question of where we are, where we want to be, who are involved, why it matters, and how to do it. So those questions were covered, and I was able to try and come with an answer of the first 5 questions in the previous 2 series. And today we are going to start a new series geared in line with the main theme. So we have a general theme for our series, and that will be introduced today for us to follow. And as we are doing this series, we would like to create an experience of impact to open up our worldview so that we can even start envisioning creating solutions that actually move impact and solutions that bring change to our regions. So for today, we have a speaker with us. His name is Mwereza, and he is a technology leader and innovator, harnessing the power of software and AI to drive transformative change across Africa. So he builds localized sustainable digital solutions that address critical challenges in health, education, and inclusivity, ensuring even the most vulnerable communities benefit from the tech revolution. So he combines deep technical expertise with human-centered ethical approach, and he seeks to collaborate with leading experts to maximize impact and build a brighter and more inclusive future. So he's also a founder of Alpha. He's going to mention more about that, and he's going to be the guy introducing our new general series for this month. Remember, we shall be having 2 sessions every month, and we hope to complete this series after 3 months. So we are looking for 6 sessions, and this is the first of our 6 sessions. So welcome, buckle up, and let's learn and get to experience this webinar today. Thank you. Welcome, Ephraim.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Ephraim Mwereza, and we'll be speaking through towards this topic of building our own localized solution for the continent, which is something that I'm really passionate about, as well as the team that is being represented here is really passionate about. So maybe a brief overview about myself. I'm a technology enthusiast, just like majority of you guys. And give me a second. Yeah, I've been in this space for around the last 4 years. And I've developed a solution called Alpha Twin, whereby it's an AI-powered mobile tool that helps parents with autistic children to do the personalized tracking and multilingual support in limited resource setting. What I'm trying to do is that you find that in autism, there's a gap in terms of trying to assess autism. We only have one center that is in Kenya Institute of Special Education that is doing the assessment for autism. So, and it's something that can be automated. But what I'm coming in is that through collaboration, we are building something together with the people at KISE, that is a Kenya Institute of Special Education. It's not that I'm trying to eliminate or to do away with the assessors who are there. It's just to complement them, because I understand that if we have one office of KISE which is located at Kasarani, and you have a child who's requiring these autistic services and is from, let's say, maybe Kakamega, maybe Kisumu. You see, adding all those costs in terms of transportation, coming and everything here, it's quite expensive. So we are trying to leverage this by just having a digital companion that will help the parents to do those behavioral tracking, because with autism, it usually have different milestones as the child grows. You are supposed to track this behavior. So by behavioral tracking, you are able now to document the stages of the child growth, and you can able now to generate a report, share it with the medical practitioners who will be able to advise further in terms of the health of the child. So, but we are not going to speak about that today. Today, we are going to speak about how best, as a continent, we the young people, we can build solutions tailored for this country, especially in Kenya, because we understand that there are so many tech tools or digital tools that are being developed elsewhere outside the continent. But if you don't take a chance like Africans to stand and now start being producers of our own, to use those tools to build our own localized solution, because there's no glory in having complicated tool stacks. Like let's say today they've released maybe GPT what, I don't know, is 04 mini or whatever. And we are glorifying that. But if it does not work for us to solve our issue, that mama mboga, whatever she's facing, or what you're facing in a local community, then for us, it's not really an important mileage. But if you can use those, you can start with the open source tools that we have and maybe generate to solve these challenges that we have in the country or the continent. And even if these solutions are proven that they are good here and they can solve problems elsewhere, maybe the North Americas, the Asias, we could export our solutions there. And that's how maybe we create also these additional jobs that we need as the youth for the country. And also, you also start to making our impact in the field of tech. Because with Africa, we have a high population of young people. So it's about us to learn these tools and also apply. Yeah, it's not just about accessing the knowledge, but also apply. So today, aside from just looking about how to craft these localized solutions, we are going to start with the user, because everything revolves around the user. Because this topic is quite huge. It entails a market strategy, business model, product design, user designs. But we are going to start with now with the user management, because if we understand the users, we are going to understand our needs that we have as a people, and we are now going to now develop solutions that work for us. Yeah, because the challenge that we have with many devs or many founders is that we create solutions that are not necessarily for us. We import, especially the era of AI, we ship data from Kaggle or Git online platforms. We use that data to develop system. Maybe now we are trying to maybe do maybe a dermatology system using AI powered features. So you have used data from abroad and you are trying to implement the same for us. It will not work for us because genetically we are different. Our realities are different from what you have in terms of the other people. Yeah. So that's a little brief about me, and I'm happy to have you here, and also I'm happy to be with you, uh, to be sharing this session with you guys. Yeah. Okay, just give me a little second. Yep. Yeah. So we'll move into the content. No, time is quite flying. Yep. Okay. So, but what does it mean to build a software for Africa? And what should a developer keep in mind as they're building software solutions? Because in terms of innovations, what we understand is that devs are really playing the leading role in terms of innovation and trying to build solutions. But as a developer, you are not working in isolation, because you have to understand that if you are targeting to have a solution to solve for a challenge across the continent, then you have to incorporate users. You have to find the real problem. I know with the devs, you always have this this joy of trying the best feature that has been released. Like now we are talking about agentic AI. So maybe in my software, I plug in some agents, then you see this the trending feature. But to that mama mboga does not care about agentic AI. She cares about how best she can use that tool to move up from point A to point B. Yeah, disregarding the technology complexity behind it. So for her, it's about the effectiveness. That is what we should have. But at the same time, we are not trying to disregard the cool features that we have in our system, because I mean, the more the features are being advanced, it also comes with the security features which are quite good or considerable, because when we have new versions of products. These are like maybe new, let's say new libraries and everything. Also the security is quite enhanced. So don't don't try and downplay the other side of learning features, but you have to find the right balance. So like the first thing, you have to focus on the problem. Yeah. And focusing on the problem, you first of all, you have to, you don't just start with an idea. Yeah. You focus on what you have. What is the challenge that you're facing? Like, let's say in my school, maybe there's challenge in terms of children to access, you're having like maybe say a management system for parents. Yeah. My students, maybe my children are studying in Gong, or I'm from maybe Kakamega or somewhere, but this going through the WhatsApp and everything is quite a challenge. So you notice that there's a challenge in terms of information access. So how best will you try and bridge that gap? That's how you come in. It's not about okay, I need to start with a product, like I need to develop maybe we always have these features, like maybe let's say the new hotel management system, or a messaging app. Yeah, a messaging app. Yes, it's a good thing. You're going to have a product by the name maybe an Africa what. Like I've seen there's a place where it has been developed, an African LinkedIn. Yeah, it's good, but whatever we have, is it bad? Yeah? Is it really not serving what we have? Yeah. So it's not really about just developing products. It's about actually looking at the need. Yeah. So you also need to know by your market, like start by investigating the viability of the product in that market. Yeah. Understand what are the pain points and listen to people problems. That's how you are able to generate the data. Get the feedback on your idea after speaking with them. Yeah. So if you don't speak with the people or the customers who are going to form part of your target market. Like let's say, like for me, I've been in the space of AT, assistive technologies for, these are assistive technologies for people with disabilities. Developing such solutions, you have to speak with them. I myself am not a person with disability, but I can sit down and think, okay, we need a sign language interpreter. Yes, it's valid, but have you really consulted with them? The accessibility aspect of that interpreter. Yeah. The user experience, what they really need in terms of interpret. Or maybe you can say, you can come up with a sign language interpreter, maybe a digital version of it, and you develop a good solution. But these people really enjoy the aspect of having a human person to connect with. You see, they enjoy that because a human person has empathy. Yeah, you have empathy in terms of the relations and everything. So they may not really like, as much as to you your solution is cool. Yes, I'm leveraging maybe game engines, avatars, automated avatars, some AI there to do the sign language translation. Yes, and you are seeing these you are trying to bridge communication barriers. Everything, every math is mathing, but the user at the actual user, the target user says, like for me, I enjoy having a human companion who is able to guide me in terms of the translation and everything, because there's that empathy aspect of it. So don't just focus on copy and paste, because I understand there are several products that have been developed outside there. You may just try to replicate the same here, but that is not the realities that you have here as a continent. Yeah. Yeah, maybe let's say a solution, especially when you go with these open source tools, you find somebody has developed, like for me in the AT space, yeah, in terms of autism assessment, there's a tool developed by it's called Ecolink, some company in US. They're using AI to do, using computer vision to do assessment. Just by viewing the child's facial characteristics, it's able to do the autism assessment. But if you are trying to implement the same thing in Africa, you should realize that in Africa we don't have data in that kind of a manner, because also with data it comes, that is sensitive data. Having facial features of someone that is kind of a sensitive data, and you also need to have like some data protection frameworks and governance and everything to handle that. But with the with US, they are already advanced, so that thing is able to work there. But if I'm somebody who wants to replicate the same here, maybe I go and copy the same solution, go to maybe Kaggle, download some image classification data sets, generate a model, and then start going around. Yes, you have built something for this. You have not really included the users, in the actual users for your system, because in the long run, as much as you're going to maybe to pitch something to investors and everything, you might secure funding, but the funding is not sustainable to run you. Business will only be sustainable by paying users who are going to use your product. So those are some of the key things that you should focus on. Focus on the problem, not the technology. Once you have the problem, you are able now to focus on how. Yeah, okay, I cannot access water. How can I access water? Then know the market. By knowing your market, you are knowing your users. But also remember, don't copy and paste. Yeah, just that's why it's called innovation. Try and understand, make it to tailor to work for our continent. Yeah. Yeah. So that is basically what I was speaking about. That products do not make problem. It's the other way around. Yeah. And that is whereby so many startups trying to are really struggling, because you start with a product. You start with a product, then you start now to tend to tailor this. Okay, so this I can use maybe to, maybe let's say, do some fintech. Especially there's so many, like in Kenya, we are really known about SMEs and not SMEs, fintech solutions. So you have come up with their own maybe payment management system. You say, I want to compete M-Pesa, but have you really done your market study to understand why maybe M-Pesa is not really solving a particular problem so that you come in? It's not just about creating solution. You have to start with the problem, then you create the solution. Yeah. Yeah. So on user development, like the term user development, this describes the activities which help you build a strong foundation of evidence about your target users. Yeah. Through understanding your users, you'll begin to understand the real problems, the needs of your users, and therefore able to create worthwhile products. And this goes two ways. As a founder, you are not neglecting the fact that you're a human being. Being based, maybe like for me, I come from maybe Malava. Yeah, in Malava, I've also been experiencing some things there. I'm able to spot some challenges that are in that place, and by then, I'm able to maybe propose something that we can build. But that's not to say that you are the only person, because you are going to have your own biases. Like, I cannot really critique my solution to that extent. So you're just supposed to maybe include external users who are going to validate your product to tell you, yes, it's true, this challenge is there. It's facing this number of people, like 10 people that have been struggling. This have some form of quantification. Yeah. So that you're not just solving something in illusions. Yeah. So user development, these are activities that will help you to build strong foundation. Yeah. As in this journey of trying to build tech solutions for Africa, let's start with getting the core foundations. Start with the user. Yeah. The reasons why you should, the reason why you should, and how you should conduct user developments. Yeah. After these product activities that you have done, maybe in terms of user development and you have researched everything, you're going to have some market data, and this data is going to influence you how you are going to bridge that gap, or how you're going to come up with that solution. Yeah. So that is one thing that we should focus on in terms of building our solutions. Yeah. Real users and your target users. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So these are the questions in the user journey you'll ask yourself. Who are your users? Yes. What kind of their lifestyle context they are going through? Or maybe how will you get your data? Yeah. Yeah. These are the questions. Like, let's say I'll keep on referring so much in terms of AT. Yeah. Because that is the field that I've been privy to be there. Like for me, I'm dealing with children with autistic, or children who are having likelihood to autism. So in the broad spectrum of assistive technology, I'm focusing with the autistic kids. There's someone who'll come in and focus with the those who have a hearing disability, those who have the vision disability they cannot see. Yeah. So you start to narrow. You cannot build a general solution that you're going to target everyone. Then after that, you now narrow to the lifestyle and context. Then you are going to say, okay, these children always have some periodic behaviors. Maybe they throw tantrums at this moment. Yeah. And they are kind of allergic to certain kind of environment. They're quite sensitive and these. Yeah. So you are understanding their lifestyle context. Yeah. Like this child, maybe for what happens during assessment is that when you take a child to Kenya Institute of Special Education, you have a physical assessor who is going out to assess the child. Oh, okay, this child is yeah, the sensory perception is this level and everything, and yeah. But sometimes the environment, the child can just shrink. So this behavioral characteristic, the child might look to be quiet, but in his normal scenario, when he's at home at his element or her element, the child behaves differently. So you have to put on those context into consideration. And then the next question is, how will you get the data about this person or about this community to go around? Yeah, this comes about ethics. So if you're going like maybe looking at things like maybe in health tech and everything, those are kind of sensitive data that you are supposed to have some form of ethics and protections in terms of how you are going to access them. Because looking at health tech, something like biodata. Biodata is a data that you cannot really just misuse it. Yeah. So those are some of the things that you have to consider before you start building. You have to access that so that by the time you have a solution that is out there, your foundations is key. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this just represents a journey going from data to insights and to product. Yeah. After doing the user research and the insights, so you've gathered the data, sufficient data, this context, who's my user? I'm looking for at children with 80, maybe I'm looking at farmers in Murang'a County, because you cannot just build something, let's say for farmers. Farmers, the experiences of farmers in Murang'a County is different experience for farmers in Kakamega County. They are farming different crops, but they are all farmers. So you have gathered those specific, okay, I'm targeting Murang'a County's farmers. This is the data that I've gotten. I've generated insights about them. Then next is now you can consider now going to build on your product. Yeah. Yeah. So this is one thing. Don't start with the tech. And for many developers, that is our challenge. Yeah. Because you think of a product, especially now that is at night, by morning, through vibe coding and everything, you have a solution at hand. Tomorrow you're pitching at investors looking for potential funding and donors. Don't do that. Collaborate with the potential users of your product. Yeah. Because if you are going to build something for health, let's say I myself have a background in IT computer science. I have no business being in health. But if you're going to build something for health, involve the doctors, because you don't want to have a scenario that you're going to build a solution that you are the only user for that solution. Yeah, it's quite discouraging that you're building a solution and you're the only user for it. Yeah? You are building so that it can impact the community. If you're going to build something for fintech, involve those guys who have done accounting, those who are in the banking industries, the SMEs, those who have experience. They're going to critique you to build something for them. Yeah. Yeah, so that is the essence of collaboration. I know there's a narrative about solo founders and everything, but for having an effective solutions in Africa, I believe that we should the collaboration aspect of it, because like even in this meetup, we represent different backgrounds. Yeah, so if you can be able to collaborate and build something, that's a good way to go about building this effective solution. Yeah, yeah. Also, things to look out for is about assumptions and validated assumptions. Now, assumption is the idea that you have, okay, I'm seeing farmers are really struggling in terms of keeping data about crops management and everything. That's an idea. But how will you validate that assumption? Go and talk to the real users. Go and talk to the farmers. Okay, Mr. Kimani hapa, yeah, he's struggling with that. Yeah, yeah. So what other things he's struggling with? You are able now to specify, okay, yeah. So if I'm to build a system or something about them, I should focus on these pain points. Yeah. And that is something that is going to help you actually iterate even your product and move faster. So there are several methods that you can include about collecting your data. Interviews is very common. And given in your community, you have been privy to so many challenges. You can talk to people. That is more cheaper and very common. Some things like focus group is quite expensive because you might have to pay for a venue to host people. Like for me, looking at the expense of the assistive technology, in our end, focus group, you're dealing with children who are they require their special needs. To keep them for 6 hours is quite a time, and you need to have like to engage them and everything. So sometimes you have to collaborate with the people. Like for me, I collaborated with a team at Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Association. They are able now to have these children here with their parents and everything, a venue with them so that you can have that time, because we find that these children, maybe their attention span is quite small, and also have to engage them within that time. Yeah, you can also do surveys, just research, maybe throw out online, you'll get some data, and also observation. Yeah, as a person who is there, you are able to see some challenges, and then maybe in the long run, you can do some analytics, maybe some data that is online there. You can be able now to analyze what is there and maybe draw insights and proceed into your building. Yeah. So I know I've repeated this quite long. Start with the user. Yeah. I understand. I know it's cool to build a feature, like let's say blockchain is say, okay, I want to build a blockchain for farming to implement. I don't know what even is that. Maybe to implement blockchain in farming. Yes, it's really cool. I mean, yeah, you are advancing technology, but do they really need it? Okay, yeah. Start with the user, because when you start with the user, at least you have somewhere to take your product for testing. And even when I'm going to stand even for maybe for venture capitals and everything, and to look for funding for scalability and everything, you need to have numbers so that it's a real world solution. It's not that something that you're just imagining. I mean, there are solutions that have been made from visionaries, like maybe let's say these things like maybe can Teslas and everything. Yeah, you think of an idea, you say, okay, this something is going to be big and everything. You have not really tested the vehicles with the users and everything, but it's something that has a potential of being big. That's quite a different story. And that's unfortunately is not a reality that we face in Africa. Because in Africa, we have so many challenges, just starting from health, education. Like literally, look at around these new funding models and everything. Yeah, established in May 2023. Today, you have parents who still cannot navigate about new funding model. Yeah, you might have a brother and sisters, know a friend. You can speak with them. What are the challenges for you? Maybe you have studied in the old funding model, what is called the DUC, differentiated unit cost. And there's somebody who have studied in this new funding model where you have to apply for scholarship. If your scholarship delays, you have to come to Universities Fund Nairobi, be there. And maybe let's say you're studying in my Saimara University. So that means you have to have another fare to come to Nairobi. And maybe when you come here, they tell you, okay, your problem, just give us 2 days, we'll resolve it. 2 days in Nairobi, you are a student, 18 years old, you have no one here. That means you have to have some form of accommodation. You go back again, come. Yeah. So you can think of building something like maybe a virtual assistant and everything, something online that people can, then you be able to have this fragmented information from COOPs held by Universities Fund and everything, and share it in one platform. A student can be able to access it 24/7. Yeah. So that is one way of building a solution. You have not, I've not just thought of, okay, we need to have a virtual assistant, let me build. I've not studied in the new funding model. I can build a good virtual assistant, but the user is not really part and parcel of it. Because in the long run, if my solution is going to be great, it has to be user focused. Yeah. 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 So you might be a founder, but as a founder, it does not necessarily mean you are the user. Yeah. And this is what I'm encouraging you to explore. Yeah. You can have a background in computer science, go and build something for agriculture. And how will it be possible for you to build something in agriculture? It's through collaboration with the agricultural experts. How you how you how are you being able to build something in 80, maybe like me? For me, I had no background, but just by being there and being able to listen to those experts, yeah, okay, so these are your process, we can map it into something like this and this. That's how you build something with them. Yeah. But at the same time, you might be a student who is struggling with this new funding model, or these solutions that we have in terms of government accessing higher education fund and everything. Yeah, you are already experiencing that challenge. You can build something, but to have a greater pool of insights just to make a solution that is wide and very useful to many people. Yeah, interact with many people, interact with the users. Just do a poll, do these fake adverts online. Yeah, we are having this solution, just trying to see the traction of that solution, so that before you start building it, because some of these solutions, they're going to cost you. You might yeah, maybe you're building something as a software as a service. You're going to use maybe cloud storage, having credits on AWS and everything. Yeah, buying all these kinds of credits and everything, it's quite expensive on your end. So it's something that you should try and maybe invest in, if you know that there's some traction, just not for some. If it's for learning purposes, build these cool projects. This is like to-do list app for their presentation and everything. Just try and yeah, you have to interact with it. I focus so much on Kakamega, maybe Muranga, Nyandarua, and Kikuyu. Yeah. Have you really sampled many of the farmers there to have a diverse perspective? Because when you have a diverse data, you are able now to make a more accurate insights from it. Is it bias free? Yeah, that is one question that you should also have, because you don't want to have a situation whereby you are building a solution that is really biased. And with now you're talking about inclusivity in AI. There's so much talks going about it. Initially, when we use, somebody could do prompts like give me an image of a computer scientist. Yeah, some would say that the AI model generated an image of a man, maybe a white man and everything. But that's a different negotiation. But for me, I could feel those prompts were kind of inaccurate because if you're asking to get an image of a computer scientist and you have two genders, you're asking one, then the probability of having either image is 50-50. Maybe if you could ask an email like, give me two images of computer scientists generated from an AI model, yeah, you'll see it trying to come up with two images. It will give you maybe a white man and a black woman, a black man with a white woman and everything. Yeah, so those are things that you should consider, especially if you are going to these are data-based solutions. Maybe you're going to implement AI in terms of autism, not really autism assessment, in terms of classifications, algorithms. You also have these fraud detections and everything. Make sure your solution is free from bias, because the ethics aspect of it is going to, it may really ground your solution if you're not really observing it. Yeah. Is your insight key to your business? Yeah. Aside just from having data, is that data really relevant? Are those features really relevant to your solution? Yeah. So those are some of the things that you should look in terms of your data. Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of the user development outputs, you are going to have a user journey, personas, and the problems. So like a user journey is a representation of how the users generally go through their way of life in a like the background of the story. Yeah. And a persona is just a fictional user. Maybe let's say Ephraim is a student at this and this, he does this and everything. Yeah. Yeah. So the problem is what you are trying to solve. So your solution will revolve around this. Yeah, the problem you're trying to solve, and the persona is a typical user. So this will guide you in terms of how your solution should be able to navigate and everything. Yeah. So in user development, these are some of the outputs that you are going to have. Yeah. So like these are sample problem statements. I know I'm kind of biased in terms of IT devices, but these are fields that have been preview quite enough. But you can replicate the same in fintech, health tech, agri-tech, and these other domains. Like people find it difficult to get to clinics to get new AT devices. But as you have seen, these are problem people. But have I really quantified 129 people in uh, Kiamogo constituency find it difficult to access 80, maybe Braille 80 devices? Then you start, okay, so 180 people in this constituency, what could be the reasons why they find it difficult? Okay, maybe poor infrastructure and everything. So how can I bridge it? Okay, you can say, okay, you're going to build a road, but I'm not a government. I'll not have those funding to build a road. But what if you create an application that is going to help them be able to supply these apply for these 80 devices online, and they be transported to them with some limited fee and everything within that? Is that really feasible? Yes. And then you look now the things like partnerships. What are the current organizations running this supplying of 80, and how do they look to do it best? So you have started to grow from just an idea. You're now going towards having some quality insights that will help you now build you a great solution. So those are sample problem statements that I've had in the 80. Yeah. So this just shows the chain. How might we solve the problem? Yeah. How might we use technology to solve the problem? Because sometimes, yeah, your solution, as much as you're talking about digitizing of solutions, your solution may not really need tech. That's the sad truth. Yeah. Not every problem requires tech. Yeah. Yeah. Or look at it this way: not every problem, like not every tech solution requires to have an LLM. There has been an outbreak. Like in every situation, you just use LLM. While you can use some basic logic, if else and everything in your solution just to have an accurate, but you want to throw in an LLM model to do the predictions, analysis 80% and everything. Yeah, so that you have some data and yeah, just look at a feasible way, the most easier way, the most effective way. Yeah, if it's going the LLM route, well and good. If it's going having those tech infrastructures and everything, well and good. Yeah. So that is some of the things you need to consider. How might we promote the feeling of behavior to solve the problem? So these we are targeting the empathy aspect of the users, because whether you like it or not, users are empathetic, if that's a word, empathetic or yeah. Users are being driven by emotions. Yeah. If they just don't like your product, yeah, that's a problem. That's why you need to have some good user experience team and everything to do your research. Yeah. You have to get the users really to to have to have that fulfillment while using your product. You might have the best logic, you might have two solutions here, best logics, but the experience that the user gets from navigating the solution to achieve their goal or everything, that brings the difference. Maybe some users are struggling just to move from one place to another, to like I'm trying to apply for this here and there, I'm struggling. But in another solution, it has those prompts there and there. Maybe it's a solution which is multilingual. You are targeting maybe to go to remote areas. Your solution is very good in English and everything, but those people there, they're speaking, maybe they know some bit of Swahili. Yeah, you can incorporate that. Then let that solution be able to offer the same in Swahili. Okay. Yeah. I know we are having a challenge in terms of African languages because we have so many dialects, but when we get there, you'll be able now to translate, maybe have a solution that we're just talking it. I'm operating my solution in Kikuyu, or I'm operating my solution in Luya. Yeah. So those are the things that we are looking forward to do in the future, but try and incorporate those accessibility features so that you widen your gap. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I've talked about personas. A persona is an archetypal character, yeah, that represent the real group of users in a role who share common goals, attributes, and behaviors. Yeah, that is a definition that some English from Muldayar 2007. Yeah. So these are some of the things you need to build. Like, let's say, so these are sample persona. Yeah. Like you have taken, for example, a lady by the name Kelly, graduated from Strathmore University. She's studying commerce. Just like many of us, aspires to purchase a property in the next 5 years. But would really like to travel. She has close circle of friends, and on most weekends goes to restaurants with them. At the end of the month, she often finds her money runs short, struggles to keep up with the friends, social calendars, and everything. Like so many university students. So goals, you have seen, she wants to buy a house, okay? To visit her family, okay? She wants also not to miss out on social events, motivation, financial, social status, and relationship. So for you, how will you enable Kelly to attain that goals of buying a house? Yeah. So those are the things you're looking at, her lifestyle or a target of group of like whatever she's doing. She's 22. So these are 22. You are not going to suggest to her a mortgage. Yeah. Because she may not have those credit scores to enable her to get the mortgage and everything. So these are some of the things you're going to consider. Like for a young person, she wants to visit her family and everything. So that you're going to create a solution that like even when you're looking to create solutions for Africa, make sure that they are quite accessible. Yeah. Because you might spend so much in terms of purchasing in clouds and everything, paying like even maybe your solution is leveraging these LLMs and everything. You're paying for the credits and everything. So the net worth of that solution when you're trying to sell to the client is quite expensive, that they might just do well without really purchasing that solution. So it has to be something that is affordable. Like looking at this at 22-year-old, yeah, maybe Strathmore. I know Strathmore has a regard of being of some particular ranking, but you can replace it with the Karatina University. Yeah. So you know what kind of solution? These are 22-year-old. Yeah. You're not going to pitch a solution that is going to cost us so much just to attain this. It should be something that is affordable and everything. Yeah. So you should be able to generate a persona for your problem. Just and all these is being done before actually building. Yeah. But I know majority of us, even I'm guilty of this. Devs, we start by an idea. The next thing we have already prototyped an MVP. Yeah, and that then we start out fixing a problem to our MVP, which is it's quite a challenge. Yeah, it's quite a challenge that is not going to help us. Yeah, yeah. So these are sample journey maps, and journey maps are you should create it by an iterative process. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So what you are seeing on the screen is a sample journey map. Yeah, and they are created by an iterative process. That means that you're going to continuously iterate over the journey map with everything with the user. Like today, maybe the user was doing like I was going through maybe in terms of accessing my mortgage, nilikuwa naenda kulikuwa na a local representative agent hapo kwa soko, anaenda ananifanyia everything, the mamas and everything, especially the old people, and I'm sending a register and everything. So every update no jamaa ndo ananitumia ananiforwardia, but maybe the bank has decided to do away with them. You had tried to create a solution that will involve that agent being part of the chain, but now the bank has decided to do away with them, so the users to go to the bank. So you have to factor again these new requirements so that you make sure your solution remains relevant. Yeah. So these are quite things that we need to be having in our solution. Yeah. The customer experience and everything. Yeah. So those are the sample step. You discover, investigate, discover a challenge. Okay, the investigating is why. Why is this happening? Then you prepare. You prepare how will I tackle it. After you've prepared on how, then that's now you move to the implementation part of applying it. Yeah, implementation, and then you are able now to test with users, wait for their feedback. They should be able now to continue to give feedback on your system. And maybe as a developer, once you have developed a solution, sometimes in Kenya, we know that we are kind of a very, let's say, accommodative people. So sometimes ukienda, when you're going to pitch your solution to user, just say, okay, I'm doing research for these people, this company and everything. They've developed this product and everything. So, I mean, it's very hard for somebody to critique your solution on your face. You see, they'll try to have those good words. This thing is good. I mean, you're the next Elon Musk and everything. You're doing great. You'll go far. But if you say like, okay, I'm working for this company, this is their solution they're trying to build and everything, you'll get the honest opinion. They'll tell you, okay, but this thing is doing just one thing. Some of these features here, they're being replicated on this other thing. Yeah. So yeah, you'll get that honest, and you really need that honest feedback so that you can be able now to implement your solution very well to the users. Because in the long run, you want to sell your solution to the users, like to scale. Yeah. I don't believe that there's any developer who wants to build a solution to have that solution for himself. Like you're building a good e-commerce website and everything, any e-commerce web application and everything. You want that in the long run, you're able to give that solution to the users and they find value for it. Yeah. So you really need to get that feedback aspect of it. I know there are many times when you're starting out as a founder or everything, you're going to have those challenges of being everyone, jack of all trades. Today you're the HR, tomorrow you're the face of the company, you're the ones who's speaking everything. Tomorrow you're the ones who's doing the technical development and everything. But yeah, but the aspect that you should not neglect is the aspect of the users. Yeah, the users who are you are building a solution for, you need to always have them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So after you have done the user development, yeah, these are product design. Product design is now when you have moved from having the insights and everything. Now you are knowing what you're kind of building. Yeah. So this is also a huge topic on its own, but we'll just go have a brief view of it. Yeah, for today. Maybe next time we'll maybe get deep and everything. But today we just have a brief view of the product design concept. Yeah, as you can see, like the product design here is like a spiral process. Yeah, sometimes you have to go backward to go progress. I know. I know. Ideally, suppose that once I've designed my products, it's MVP. The next thing is maybe going to production and everything. But you might design a product for a particular problem now. Tomorrow you wake up, the problem is obsolete. You need to pivot. So those are the things that you're going to face. Yeah, that's why it's kind of spiraling, and there's so much iteration. That means, yeah, at no any point you have a final product. Yeah. In your uh, is how you have to just again with the
Hello, Ephraim. We are losing you. I think we are having issues with the.
Was geared on our theme on how to actually build solutions for Africa that address the challenges that we experience. And it's been a great interactive session. So, does any one of us have a question or uh, take home on what Ephraim has been sharing? He's shared a lot to do with focusing on the problem, uh, let the problem guide you on the product you want to develop, focusing on the users. I'm sure previously we had mentioned about user stories, but he went into detail to mention about user journeys, listening to your users, and that has been coming up in actually every session that we've been having. So far, so good. I believe focusing on the users is a big thing that we need to check, because remember, our local context or the demographic that we are focusing on is Africa, and we have to look at the users. Of course, it has to start from the user aspect. So anyone with a question, I can take questions. I'm sure some of the team members can answer some of the questions, or a take home. Just lift your hand. I'll see it and uh, can give you that opportunity. Anyone with a question? We are almost winding up. Webinars run from 8 to 9. It's normally an hour of super content. Yeah. Personally, my take home today was okay. I can see a question from Daryl. I need a bit more clarifying on journey maps. Okay. Thank you for that. User journey maps. Can take that. So, for example, you are building a solution, let's say, to do uh, with a registration. Let me use a registration platform. You want to register, let's say you're working on a solution in health to register users or your target user group. And most of the time when you're developing it, you don't have the process well mapped in your head. So you kind of need to have your user journey maps. I think the best analogy to have here is you're sending money. It's a fintech solution that you're creating. I would like to input my phone number, the phone number of the person I'm sending money to, and then I am supposed to input the amount. I'm supposed to input my PIN, and then I'm supposed to press send. So there is that process that you need to map out. So most of the times when you're creating any solution, you need to have user journeys so that you make sure that whatever you're conceptualizing is actually applicable in the actual market, so that you don't over engineer an application, or you don't develop an application or a solution that does not synchronize with the users that you have. Have you ever used an application and realized it might be very complicated for me as a user to get to use this solution? And there are some solutions that you will use, there are some apps that you will use, and you feel it's very simple for me to interact with this. So keeping that in mind, design a user journey map that is going to give you a well mapped out layout on how you're supposed to approach your solution in a development perspective, and also it helps you to do to incorporate your users, and that is where user-centered design also comes in. I think that is my feedback for Daryl. And anyone else with a question can take like one last question or two last questions, and then we can call it a night. Okay. If there is no other question, then I would like to mention for us who had not been here as at the beginning of the session, our theme this year is Tech Tailored for Africa, and we are actually narrowly focusing on a more general, more specific theme from the general theme, which is crafting effective African solutions. So about crafting effective African solutions, it's a series that we want to do in 3 months. That is, we start from this month of May, 2 sessions in June, 2 sessions in July. This was an introductory session. We'd like to get to a chance where we are actually going to do some practical aspects of this series. That is sharing additional resources to the channel, and also we are going to add people to our WhatsApp group where you can actually ask and interact. I'm sure that is impossible to do in the channel, but in the group you'll have the ability to do that. And then this is the first session we are having. The next session we are going to have is next Saturday. And then if after the 2 sessions this month, the next 2 sessions will be next month, and the other 2 sessions will be the following month. So we'll have a total of 6 sessions covering this theme of crafting effective African solutions. I'll be bringing different speakers from different backgrounds. Speaker of the day was Mwereza Ephraim. He's a founder, Alpha Technologies. He deals with AI solutions, and he mentioned about autistic devices development and integrating AI in all this. Feel free to check out his website, check out his LinkedIn, and also get to learn more from his experiences. And also we record all these sessions on YouTube, so then don't worry if you've missed out on a previous session. So every session is well recorded, and it's uploaded on our YouTube channel. We are going to share the YouTube link in the WhatsApp channel. If you're not in the WhatsApp channel, make sure you join. We are also going to be sharing the link for the WhatsApp channel. So in case you want to reach us, feel free to email us at infospacemeta at gmail.com or hello@infospacemeta.org. Those email addresses will be placed in the chat so that you can always get them. And we are going to be having our next webinar on Saturday next week, same time, 8 to 9. It's an 1 hour of super action. We have a speaker, one host, and that is how we build up from there. So it has been nice having you. Thank you, team. I appreciate you all for being part of this and from learning. And we expect to actually develop solutions that are moving our continent to the next level. And therefore, we are supposed to change from being the consumers to actually being the producer of this technology. And I'm sure we are the right generation, and we have the right skill set to place us at that position, and we will keep on advancing and learning and even be at our best in this tech revolution. So have a great night, and bye-bye.